I'm Charlotte Kinzley. I am the district liaison for Minneapolis Public Schools, and I am in my 5th year in this role. Minneapolis Public Schools has about 28,000 students, 70 different schools. We are an urban district. Our homeless highly mobile rate last year, we identified 3,250 students. So that's 9% of our student body. We have lots of families that are doubled up, couch hopping, in emergency shelter, experiencing homelessness, which does add to the challenges of supporting our students across the district. I worked in family emergency shelter for 13 years and then transitional housing for 6 years before coming to the district. In my role, I'm really responsible for ensuring that students who are experiencing homelessness can fully access their education, making sure that we can remove as many barriers as possible for students to be able to access school and athletics and all of the things that make up the educational life of our students. One of the first things liaisons should do in their role is to make sure that they have a strong identification process. Because if you don't know who you're serving, that just feels like step one. I would recommend that liaisons look at their student body. Expect that 5 to 10% of your benefit eligible or free and reduced lunch students would potentially be experiencing homelessness. Not that that necessarily defines it for all areas, but if you're way off from that, you're probably missing students. I would just use that as a gauge to sort of check how you're doing with identification. It's also really important that you get to know your community's homeless response system. Who are the shelter providers if you have shelters? What is the homeless designated housing that's available? Know who your community partners are. I also think it's important to learn how your district is investing in the work or not investing in the work. Like, what is your Title I set aside amount? And then how does that compare to other similarly sized districts? Connect with liaisons, ideally in your area of similar size that have been doing the work for a while, and just ask to meet up or do a virtual meeting and just kind of pick their brain on how they operate and what they do. That was really helpful for me when I moved into this role. I really was grateful for the guidance of some liaisons who had been doing it for a long time. Our district at its core really values equity and ensuring that all students have access. Not that I don't have to make the case and show what we're doing and show the outcomes, I absolutely do, but I'm not at a place where I'm having to really make a case that our students should be invested in. I work with other districts who are very much on the opposite end of that, where they're really just trying to get people to pay attention to how important this work is. If school staff across districts understood the risk for students experiencing homelessness and how important intervening, investing can be, I think it can make a big difference. So unfortunately, I do think liaisons often are put in the position of really needing to explain a lot and advocate a lot, look at the outcomes of students who are experiencing homelessness and use data to tell the story of how important it is to intervene, then personalizing it whenever you can actually help people understand what the experience of a young person experiencing homelessness is like, and then sort of what the removal of barriers can do to sort of minimize the harm of homelessness. I think both things, then you can kind of speak to the whole of it. So the data points to more of the people who kind of want to see those outcomes and those numbers, but then it's really important people can feel how important it is. I wish I would have known that there are so many other people who have been doing this for a long time that I can go to. Schoolhouse is one of them. Such a wealth of information. There were times when I was trying to figure it out on my own, and I didn't realize that there were a lot of tools at my fingertips. I really do think the Schoolhouse folks were, and I'm not just saying that, I would think I knew how to respond, but I didn't trust myself, especially when you're new. It felt like I was still like building trust with people that I knew what I was doing. Being able to go somewhere, having the backing of a national org, saying it in a clear way that people could understand, that was really helpful. It is a really hard system to navigate, particularly around contracting and finance. And I kept hitting walls that just felt like I wasn't able to use knowledge I had of the community and the relationships I'd built over the 20 years before coming here having a couple people that knew a large system and could help me navigate it made a really big difference for me. Stable Homes, Stable Schools, it's a housing initiative that we are a partner of. So we partner with the city and the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority to offer actual rental assistance, long-term rental assistance, plus homeless prevention funding. Through that initiative, we've been able to either end homelessness or prevent homelessness for over 5,000 students. By far, that's the thing I feel most proud of because so many students' lives have been impacted so dramatically. The other thing that I feel most proud of is our parent advisory work that we've done. We have a group of parents with a lived experience of homelessness that help guide and direct our work. And we've been able to not only shift and change internal department type practices, but they also represent on external committees with the county in homelessness prevention work. We have a rep sitting on our district parent advisory committees. There's just so many barriers for someone who's experiencing homelessness to come to a meeting and share what they think. And so we've been able to get just a group of super committed parents that we've brought on as paid consultants for us. It has absolutely changed how we operate. And it also has lent a lot of power to what I'm saying because I'm leaning on the voices of people who are most impacted by homelessness and know the solutions. I would hope new liaisons would really feel like what an honor and privilege it is, the role that you're in, because you have the ability to center and elevate voices of some of the most resilient, incredible people that I've ever met. And you have a platform to elevate those voices. So I hope you just know what an honor it is that you're in that role. It's also hard work. So I do think it's really important that you take care of yourself, that you lean on other people that know the work that you're doing is important and can kind of fill your cup when you're hitting those walls. And I also think it's important to remember always progress over perfection. If you're starting in a district where you feel like, you've just got a lot of work to do, just pick a thing or a couple things and make them better. And then just over time, the impact will be felt.